Hello everyone, welcome to Story Time in Seacliff. Now yesterday's clue was this orange button. I wonder what that's about. How many guessed? Corduroy. Yes, corduroy. Let's read this story. It's a favorite of many of ours. All right. Corduroy was a bear who once lived in the toy department of a huge store. Day after day, he waited with all the other animals and dolls for somebody to come to buy them. And he wanted to be taken home. The store was always filled with shoppers buying all sorts of things, but no one ever seemed to want a small bear with green overalls. Then, one morning, a little girl stopped and she looked straight into Corduroy's bright eyes. "Mommy, Mommy, that's the very bear I've always wanted," she said. "Not today, my dear," her mom sighed. "I've spent too much money already, and besides, he looks a little shabby. His button is missing." Corduroy watched them sadly as they walked away. And he looked down and he said, "I didn't know I'd lost a button. Tonight, I'm going to go find my button." Late that evening, when everything was quiet and shut down and locked up, Corduroy slipped down from the shelf and began his adventure. He saw something strange. Suddenly he felt the floor moving. Quite by accident, he had stepped onto an escalator. Up he went. This could be a mountain, he thought. I've always wanted to climb a mountain. He stepped off the escalator when he reached the next floor, and before his eyes, a most amazing sight. Tables and chairs and lamps and sofas and so many beds. "This must be a palace," said Corduroy. "I've always wanted to live in a palace." He wandered around and he climbed onto one of the beds and he noticed buttons. Lots of buttons. "This must be my button," he said. So he started to pull and he pulled and he pulled and he went flying up in the air. Pop! Off came the button, but it really wasn't his button. Meanwhile, he had knocked over a tall lamp. Corduroy didn't know it, but there was someone else upstairs in the store. It was the watchman. And the watchman heard the noise and came running down. "What are you doing here?" the watchman cried. Somebody's hiding." He flashed his light under and over, and sure enough, he came to the biggest bed of all, and there were two brown fuzzy ears sticking up from under the covers. "Hello," the watchman said. "How did you get here?" Well, he tucked him under his arm and he carried him back to the toy department and he placed him right on the shelf. Corduroy was just waking up the next morning when the first customer of the day walked in, and guess who it was? That little girl who he had seen yesterday. She said, "I'm Lisa, and you're going to be my very own bear. Last night I counted all my money that I had in my piggy bank, and my mom said I could come back and buy you." "Shall I put him in a box?" the sales lady asked. "No," said Lisa. "I'm going to carry him home." And she ran all the way up the 4 flights of stairs to where she lived in her apartment building, and she went straight to her room. Corduroy blinked. There was a chair, a chest of drawers, a nice sized bed, and a perfect sized bed for him. It was nothing like the department store, which was the palace, remember? He said, "This must be home. I've always wanted a home." Lisa sat down with Corduroy on her lap and she began to sew a button on his overalls, the one that was missing. "I like you the way you are," she said, "but I think you'll be more comfortable with your shoulder strap fastened with that button." "You must be a friend," said Corduroy. I've always wanted a friend. Me too, said Lisa, and gave him a very big hug. And that's the end of the story of Corduroy. All right, love that story so much. Let's find out about our birthdays. If there's a birthday today, is there a birthday? I think there's a birthday. I think it is. I'm checking my book. I think it's Olivia's birthday. At least it was a few days ago. So we'll celebrate Olivia's today. All right, let me hold the cake up. It was largely chocolate, but who knows what today's will be. Chocolate, we have Ryan and Luca. We have Riley and Molly, Emily and Nicholas, Ben and Bee, Jackson and Miles, Haley and Clara. For vanilla, we have Alice. We have Martha, Maeve, Allison, and Joseph. Joseph's always so faithful with his vanilla choice. Patrick and Hannah, Kira, and Annabelle. I'm going to count. I'll count the vanilla first. 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 9 vanilla. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 chocolate. Oh no, guess what happened? Graham, Audrey, and Lila just voted at this minute, and they voted for chocolate. Oh no. So it's a very, very chocolate cake today. Very chocolate. Okay, there we are. And remember, we're going to sing to Olivia. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Olivia. Happy birthday to you. So nice, so nice. Now, Oberon, do you have a clue? Do you have a good clue for us? He certainly does. Look at this. I love this one. Look at it very carefully. Very carefully. And some of you might guess what our story will be tomorrow. Here we go. Okay. Thank you, cameraman Dan. Thank you, Oberon. And thank you, all of you who listened to our story of Corduroy today. And remember, I love you all very, very much.